Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Roos and today I want to show you around an amazing place, the Botanical Gardens in Leiden. We are getting a special tour by the greenhouse manager, Rogier. He has an awesome Instagram, so check that out. And the garden themselves also has an Instagram account. In Holland, we call them the Hortus Botanicus, which is the Latin name for the botanical gardens. We are getting a tour with some of my Instagram friends, so that's really exciting. I'll put their handles around their faces as well when they're in the screen. It's getting a bit windy, so let's head inside and see what kind of plants they have. So we started in the tropical greenhouse. This is Rogier, our guide for the day, our bush guide. These are some species of Aglaonema with nice different variegations that are natural. Maaike and Anna and her boyfriend listening very carefully. This place is super high, so there's different levels. He allowed us to pick some bananas right from the trees, which is really cool, and we got to eat them as well. I didn't because I don't like the taste of bananas, but... And then took us around the jungle top walkway, which is really bushy and fun to see, even in winter. And the way Rogier tells stories about plants is really interesting. His way of emoting and like expressing, just look at his hands here, is super interesting and fascinating. And it kept us all captivated for over 5 or 6 hours on this tour. Here he's showing us a really cool kind of aroid. It is a South Asian aroid, and that whole thing is one leaf. So that's really, really cool. Then we took a little insect intermezzo. He was showing us around the walking stick insects. Super creepy. We're all laughing and being fascinated by it.
See them? Oh, here.
And then the living leaf insect. I don't know if these are the correct names. I couldn't find it at first, which you hear me say if you understand Dutch. I was like, I just see leaves. And then he picked one up. And it was a little bit easier to see. Especially once it didn't pretend to be dead anymore. You can see the little paws on it. Yeah. The face. Super cute. And I just had to show you how insta-famous this little insect got. This is actually an orchid, this huge plant. It grows really crazy and the old stems stay on because the plant can still get nutrients from it. So that's why they leave it on here as well. Here is the gorgeous Anthurium regale that actually I think opened a new leaf since the last time I was here. Oh, so beautiful. Oh, the velvet. And on this side there is a Anthurium crystallinum. Yes. These are a little bit damaged, but the leaves are beautiful and it is making some seeds, so if we come back in a few weeks we might be able to get some seeds. On this side they have different kinds of Philodendron, and they're actually going to make this wall into a living wall because it's really humid in here anyway. On the other side of the door they're also putting up nice aroids that we like and know, and they're going to make lots more baskets here on the wall. Here is showing us one of his mini orchids that he still grows himself. It's tiny, but really, really cute. And apparently it's very special. I have no idea. Here's one of those see-through planty things. Someone actually got their torch out for us to see how see-through it is, because it's like glass.
Het is net van een siliconenkit.
Or silicone gel, as one of the guys is saying. Another insta-famous plant. I loved showing all the phones. Cool. And then there's a little jewel orchid. Basically what he showed us here was a hallway. And now we're moving into one of the orchid greenhouses, where in the beginning of this video you can see one of the Amorphophallus aroids with really nice pink lines. As you can see, they've put up some rosters to protect the more expensive plants, because people have been stealing plants here, so that's horrible. Oh, here shows us different orchids and tells us lots of stories about them. Lots of cool orchids. These ones with the patterns on the leaves are Bathyopedilums, different species. They have the beautiful flowers like the lady slipper flowers. Here's another one with really cool leaf patterns. The back side of the leaves, it looks really cool as well. Look at that. And then we went on more to the fern side. This is my favorite fern ever. It's called Selaginella uncinata, I think. And it's growing all over the table. It's going crazy. And different kinds of Selaginella. I love the colors on them. Look. It's just beautiful. Here's a very weird fern that looks like a blob of snot that grows fern leaves, which is always cool. And there were also a lot of carnivorous plants in here. This one is actually flowering, which I'd never seen before. And the really chunky ones, like this one, apparently are actually vegetarian carnivorous plants, which is interesting. They are more open on the top and they eat more falling down fern leaves and stuff instead of flies. There's some really weird orchids in here. It's mainly orchids. Some of them are very funky. Look at these. These are also orchid flowers. So weird. It looks, from a little bit further back, it looks basically like a pole of grass. Some really cute flowers. When you zoom in, you can see how cute they are, but they are so small. You would never notice them in the jungle. Here's everyone. Hello! We just entered the secret greenhouses that people are normally not allowed in. Rogier is explaining about the Hoya imbricata, which apparently is an Hoya ant plant, which looks really cool. Some Hoya kerry and this Hoya species that we couldn't figure out what it was. A lot of the species here are actually unnamed so far because they haven't been flowering yet, so they don't know for sure what it is. Here is the Dischidia ovata that I almost bought in a recent video. And then something that looks to me like a Hoya callistophila. Beautiful. I love this Hoya. This is the first time I was like, okay, maybe I do like Hoya. And just wait, there will be more. Here's a Waimanii with beautiful red. Because it's so much light here, all the Hoyas look really red and beautiful. And then Hoya polystachya with really nice veining on the leaves. Hoya obscura, which I loved with the veining and then the red as well. And this species also was really beautiful to me, but it didn't have a name, or I forgot to film it. Maybe that's it. This was one of my favorite Hoya ever, Bilobata. And the leaves are like purple and red. It's just beautiful. And we found a random anthurium in the middle of all the Hoya madness. Oh, so pretty. The leaves were beautifully velvet. I loved it. Another Hoya species with really red leaves. And then he opened up a cage with even bigger stick insects that he warned us would attack you if you put them on your hand, so he doesn't do that. See that little leg? That's just spikes going right into your finger until they bleed. So yay. A few more fat little vegetarian nepenthes and a carnivorous one. And on this side were lots of ant plants. All the little codex plants are ant plants. These are little babies that you can just, they grow everywhere, as you can see even on one of the stalks of the mama ant plant. And some of them looked really funky. Look at that spiky thing. This fern was my favorite ever. It's like blue metallic ferny. It's called Microsorem thailandicum. Hoya philura Also love the nerves on that, on the leaves, and the red, of course. And another Weimannii. I spotted a Thai constellation in there that we'll get to in a minute. Another Hoya that I couldn't see the name of. And there were a lot of Nepenthes here. The pictures, Rogier was explaining, they feel almost like kiwi fruits. So they were filling up all the pictures. And he explained that the stripes on the top of the picture, those are more rare and more sought after. And other ones are just plain colored. So these are extra cool. A Hoya Nicholsonii, I think. Yeah. And really cool anthurium seeds that were just hanging out there. So they're going to make more babies. And then the magic happened. We found some queen anthurium babies that are absolutely stunning. He had a few different ones. And the leaves just looked so perfect. Oh, I would have given so much to take one of those home. But they're going to grow them bigger. So that's really exciting. Because they have the perfect conditions. Here's the Thai constellation I was talking about. Once it's a little bit bigger and healthier, they're going to move it into a different place where people can actually see it. But not for now. More red Hoya. I just love all the red Hoya. This one is a species that's unnamed so far. With all the red and the nerves. Oh, I loved it so much. Look at the growth there hanging down. There were just too many Hoya to show you. But this visit definitely made me a Hoya fan. Which I thought would never happen. So that's pretty special. This little plant is a velvet lipstick plant, which was really cute. And then this one is a Ruellia makoyana with really beautiful variegation on the leaves, as you can see. And then this is a costus. It's similar to ginger plants, and they grow in a spiral form, so that's really cool. And then over here is another aroid that I thought was an alocasia, but it's not. It's called a Cyrtosperma. The stems are really funky. There's some spikes on there. And then the leaves have a pink or a red line. It's a separate genus. So it looks like alocasia, but it's not. This is another fern, a really weird looking one. And I just wanted to show you what the greenhouses look like when you're walking around in them. Just covered in plants in all different levels, hanging and in pots and on the tables, and hardly any space to walk, as you can see. Here's a tiny, tiny orchid. That little star there, that's a flower. Can you see? He's calling it a little spider. And it's mounted on a block of probably bark. So hard to see. That's Jessica over there. And another orchid. Then we finally made it into another place where they had some aroids. And the first one you see here is an alocasia mycolitziana, or a Friedeck. Actually, funny story. Let me just pause this. I heard that we all call them Friedecks, but actually it's called mycolitziana unless it's variegated, and then it's called Friedeck. Have you heard this before? Let me know in the poll. And then a gloriosum, pretty small one. And another alocasia. I love this one. It's called Alocasia scalprum. The leaves look so funky. It's a little bit like a dragon scale, but a little bit more shiny and rough. And then this is the Monstera obliqua. What? First obliqua I've ever seen in my whole life. And you might think it doesn't look like what I'm used to seeing, but that's correct, because this is the Bolivian form, as McMitty told me, and not the Peruvian form that we're used to. Some mini begonias around the obliqua. I don't know any of these species names, but they're very pretty. And a bigger queen Anthurium warocquianum. It's really long, the leaf, but a little bit damaged, as you can see. I also had an Anthurium forgetii that I kind of forgot to film. I just took some photos of it and I'm sharing those with you so you can see it at least. It looks really cool. I kind of want one as well, but you can't have everything. Here's another orchid that has very good colors. I love the deeper purples, and some more ferns and orchids that are all still unnamed. They are waiting for them to flower so that they can decide if it's an existing species or if they can name a new species, which is a cool thing for a botanical garden to be able to do. Found a mini Pilea mollis or moon valley, nothing special but cute. And these orchids, they're so small you could hardly see unless I put my hands next to them, so that's what I'm doing here. Some more ancient forms of pitcher plants that look a little bit different, but very, very beautiful. This reminded me a little bit of like fairies and magical forests. And then the last plant that we saw, this is a Euphorbia cactus with a mistletoe that is a parasitic plant that is growing on the inside of this Euphorbia. The way you get this is to grab one of the berries and press it out on top of a new Euphorbia. Rogier made an amazing walkthrough of this on his Instagram where you can see him putting the seed on and then the root coming out. And you'll see it sprouting, and the little root that comes out goes right into the cactus. There it goes. It's like a suction cup going into the plant, and then grows on the inside of the cactus for a year. And the next year you'll see the first little stems coming out. It's so crazy. What a crazy story. This is the upstairs with water lilies, but it's winter, so they all died down. And the big monstera that they have. This is actually where the Thai constellation is going to live once it's a little bit bigger. They also have some big butterflies that come out at dusk. So normally you don't get to see them in the botanical gardens because they close before dark. But we did because we stayed really long. Rogier had an unlimited amount of stories and interesting facts about plants, so it was amazing. Our tour lasted so long that we're now walking in the botanical gardens and dark, trying to get out because it's now finally finished. So we finally made it out of the botanical gardens. It's dark already. Are we excited? Yay! Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye! Bye-bye! This day definitely was extra special because of all the lovely people who came along. You can see them here. We took a few photos of our group. It was really fun. And of course, Rogier, who was the best guy. Don't forget to check him out on Instagram. He posts amazing photos and shares his enthusiasm and love for plants. Thanks so much for watching. Again, don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you like this video. And I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye!